Hello students, I have come up with the circumference and area of circle chapter and few questions solved for you. Here for this we will have to know the basics of the circle, like what is a circle, what is circumference, what is radius, what is semicircle, what is annulus or this one. So I'll discuss a few things in a quick revision kind of a thing, and then we'll go ahead with the questions. Now you all know that this is called as a circle. Circle has a center, and if a line is passing through the center, that is called as diameter. Diameter is also a chord because the definition of chord itself says that the chord is the line segment which joins the 2 points on the circumference. So this also can be called as a chord. This is also chord. Diameter is the biggest chord. Diameter is what? Is the biggest chord. But I have sliced it vertically. But if you make a horizontal slice, what will happen is, if I erase this or not erase it, but this is called as what? Semicircle. Semicircle. Now other than that of this, here we have some. Now if you have two concentric circles, then the area between this is called as, either it is called as a ring or it is called as what, annulus. Both are same, means they refer to the same area what we are talking about. Now in this year you have got one more important thing, that is the equilateral triangle and incircle and circumcircle. What does that mean? Okay, I'm trying to draw. Let me see if I can put it correctly, because without the instruments it is really difficult to put these things. Okay, I have tried my level best. I don't know. Now this is inside this one. What circle is inside the triangle, so it is called as incircle. Incircle. Then what is the other one, if you ask me? Now when all these three, sorry, this doesn't look like a circle, I know, but I'll just show you. The circle that has triangle inside is called as circumcircle. Now if this is the circle, now think that this is a equilateral triangle that we have and an incircle. This is what I wanted to tell you. The outer circle is covering the triangle, so we call it as what? Circumcircle. Now this circle, which is smaller in size, which is touching all the three sides of the triangle, is called as incircle. Now one more thing. Now when we say circumcircle, circumcircle covers all the vertices of the figure, whatever we are putting inside. Putting inside means circumscribing. Now if this is a triangle, triangle has three vertices, all three vertices are lying on the circumference. Now is it that only triangle is going to be there inside the circle? No, you may get trapezium, you may get square, parallelogram, rectangle, anything. Okay, but if at all we call it as a circumcircle, it has to cover all the vertices of that figure. That should be understood. Now the difference between circumcircle and incircle. Circumcircle covers all the vertices, whereas incircle touches all the sides of the figure that it is inside. Now this is a triangle, it is touching the three sides of the triangle. So this is the concept. Now here also you all know area of the area of equilateral triangle. Equilateral triangle is √3/4 a square. Now what is a? A is nothing but the side of the equilateral triangle. Okay, now if this is there, why I'm telling this? There are some direct answers that we will be able to make. Now if at all I draw a line through this acts as a perpendicular to this, because radius and the tangent are perpendicular to each other, hence it is what you know perpendicular at this point of time. So if this is so, what is this called as height of this triangle? Now how to find the height of this triangle? Height is found by root 3 by 4a. That's it. You can find the height of the equilateral triangle with the help of this also. If you know the area, you can do the same and just multiply the side with root 3 by 4. You will get the height of it. Now radius of incircle and circumcircle can also be calculated directly. So how do we do that? We'll check. It's a ready-made formula. You don't have to deduce it, but you need to remember it. Okay, now first is what? Radius of incircle means what? This radius from here to here, let us call it as small r, because comparatively it is in smaller size. Okay, so radius of the incircle is given by a upon 2 root 3 units. A upon 2 root 3 units. What it is? Radius of the incircle. Now radius of circumcircle is also there. Now if I join this line to this center to this point where the vertex of a triangle is there, that will become the radius of the outer circle or say circumcircle. So radius of the circumcircle is given by what? If you know, you should tell. That is a upon root 3. Radius of circumcircle is equal to a upon root 3. Okay, so these are few direct answers what we can write with the help of formulae. Okay, here we go with the question now. So the question that I have picked from the list of questions is a copper wire, when bent in the form of a square, encloses an area of 272.25 centimeters. If the same wire is bent into the form of circle, what will be the area enclosed by the wire? Now to say that, suppose there is a thread you have taken. Okay, you took that thread and made a perfect square out of it. The thread ends here. Don't think that it is remaining this, that, all odd number of things. You took the thread and you made what? A perfect square with it. Now you don't want that square shape, so you are turning this into a circle. Now when you made it a square, it was acquiring what? This one area 272.25 square centimeter was its area. Now we do not know what is going to be the area of this. We have to find out. Now first let us discuss the logic here. When we know the area of the square, can we find the side of the square? Yes. Why? Area of square is given by area of square is equal to side square. Okay, this is what area of the square, what I have got it as 272.25 is equal to side square. Now if I have to find out what is the side, I should be taking the square root of this. So side is equal to square root of 272.25. So we'll have to find the square root of this. So what method are you going to use for this when it is a square root of a a decimal number? You can use any one of them. Like this can be converted into 272 0.25 upon 100. Why did I say that? 100 is also what? Perfect square. You can use it and you can write it. Now what about the square root of 27225? You need to understand that you should use prime factorization method, which is very well known to you. You can do that. So how to find it out, isn't it? It's a big number. You can make it out. I'm doing that also. Some of them avoid doing this so that the time is saved, but I need to tell you how you can find this. I'll find this here and then I will erase this. Okay. Now as the last this one is 5. I do not suggest to go with 5. First you should check with 3. Now 2 plus 7 is 9 and this is also 9. 9 to the 18 means it is divisible by 3. Now here is a major issue. 3 9s are 27. After that 2 remains. 2 you will take for the division, but 2 is smaller than 3, hence that 0 comes here. 22 you should take. 3 7s are 21. 1 remains. 15. 3 5s are 15. Now if it is a perfect square, then the ones whatever number you take, then that number has to come at least for the next time. So 3 3s are 9. 0 as it is. 3 2s are 6. 1 remains 15, 3 5s are 15. Now you think of 2 plus 5 is 7, 7 plus 3 is 10. This is not divisible by 3, it should be divisible by 5. Okay, 5 6 are 30. Now 2 if you take, nothing comes up. So 5 5s are 25, that is 605. Again 5s are 5 1s are 5, 5 2s are 10 and 5 1s are 5. Now you know 121 is a square of 11. 11 11s are 11 1s are. So we can take one of these numbers and then we can multiply and get the square root. Now 11 into 5 into 3. Okay. 11 5s are 55. 55 3s are you have to do. That will be 165 upon 100. Sorry, 10 it will become. Why? Square root of 100 is 10. Now if you have this number, how will you divide and write? I'm sorry, I have to put the camera down. Okay, I've taken it down. Now see here, if at all it is divided by this, thus it will be 16.5 centimeter. What is 16.5 centimeter? Side of the square. Hope you understood how we got these factors. Okay, now we found the side of it. So the perimeter what is used for making this square, the same perimeter is used for the circle. So that concept we are going to take up and then solve it. Now listen carefully. So perimeter of square is equal to circumference of circle. This is what we are going to put up. Okay. Therefore, given that perimeter of square is equal to circumference of circle. Okay, what is the perimeter of square? 4 times side is equal to, what is circumference? 2 pi r. Now side is what we got it as 16.5 is equal to 2 into 22 upon 7 into r. Once we get the radius, we can definitely find the area. Now you can bring these numbers to this side, that is 4 into 16.5. Now 7 will come as multiplication and 2 into 22 goes for the division, that will be r. Now 2 1s are 2 2s are, you know it, 2 1s are 2 11s are. Now 165 get divided by 11. 11 1s are 11. Now if at all I have to go for the next number, I have to put a point because there is a decimal point. 5 remains 55, 11 5s are 55. Now 15 7s are you can make out and write the answer for. What answer you will get? 15 into 7 gives you 105. So 105, but there is a point here, so 10.5 will be the radius. But did we find the final answer? No, we are still halfway. We got that radius is equal to, I'll write it this way, radius is equal to 10.5 centimeters. Now using this radius we can find the area of the circle. Now area of the circle is equal to, write down as area of circle is equal to pi r square. Now pi is what? 22 by 7. R is how much? 10.5. Now 10.5 is nothing but 21 upon 2. I'll show you what. 21 upon 2 if I do, 2 ones are 2, then 1 is there, it will not get divided by, so 10s are 2 5s are 10. So you can write this 10.5 whenever you get in any circle question. You can write it as 21 by 2. Why I am suggesting this is 21 is divisible by 7. It will help you getting it cancelled. 21 upon 2 into 21 upon 2. Okay. So 7 ones are 7 3s are 21. 2 ones are 2 11s are. Okay. Now what do you remain with? 11 into 3 into 21 upon 2. Now you need to either any one of them you can divide and then let us get the answer. You calculate the answer, what it will be. Again I am going to divide this because it's the easiest. 1.5 it will be into 21. 21 into 11 is how much? 21 into 11 into 1.5. These two will be 131 because many a times this multiplication comes as a same number. When we multiply it with by 1.5, you can do it with 15 and then make it a point. So it will be 346.5 centimeter square. So this will be your answer. Now you can see that square has acquired lesser area than that of the circle here. Circle is acquiring more area. The next question is, two circles touch externally. Externally in the sense this way. This is one circle. So the other circle here, externally touching each other, and what he says is the sum of their areas is 117 pi centimeter square and the distance between their centers is 15 centimeter. Find the radii of the two circles. Now first thing is given is sum of the two circles, radii of two circles is 15. Now the small one I will be taking as R1 we will take, and this as R2 we will take. It will help us to distinguish. So R1 plus R2 is what? 15. Okay. This it is given in the question itself. Now it is said that there's sum of their areas. Now areas of area of the first circle, that will be pi r1 square plus pi r2 square is equal to 117 pi. This is what is said. Now if you see, pi can be taken as common. r1 square plus r2 square is equal to 117 pi. So pi being on the same both sides common, we have cancelled it. Now this can be named as the first result. R1 square plus R2 square is equal to 117. This can be the second result. Now what we are supposed to do is take the first one and square it. after squaring it means what? A plus b bracket raised to square. That type we will square the left side and square the right side also. Write it now as by squaring 1 on both sides. Okay, by squaring 1 on both sides. Now what will happen here is r1 plus r2 bracket square is equal to 15 square. Now this will be what? It is like a plus b bracket raised to square. Now here if you ask, do we have to write the identity? No, not necessary. r1 square plus r2 square plus 2r1 r2 is equal to 225. Okay, but now we have r1 plus r1 square plus r2 square value we know. How do we know? Because of these three steps. You can understand. It was given that sum of the area of the circles is 117 pi. Hence we could deduce a equation that r1 square plus r2 square is equal to 117. So we will use that here. r1 square plus r2 square is 117 we will write, and then we'll see 117 plus 2r1 r2 is equal to 225. Now we'll take this and subtract this. So r1 r2 is equal to 225 minus 117, and this 2 was here in the multiplication. We'll take it in the division. Now I'll tell you what you get. Okay, so r1 r2 is equal to, when you subtract and divide, what is the subtraction you are getting? 225 minus 117, 108 upon 2, so that you will get as 54. So this is not any unit or anything, still they are in multiplication and all, so don't worry about it. So this is 54. We have r1 plus r2. By having r1 plus r2 and r1 r2, we will not be able to get the r1 and r2 length separately. What does that mean? If we have a equation, one of the equation r1 plus r2 as 15, we need to have another equation as r1 minus r2. So that is very important. Now so you may say, from where did it come? It did not come from anywhere. We have to create it now. r1 minus r2 bracket square. Why we are so much confident that we will get the some value for this? Because r1 square plus r1 minus r2 square is nothing but r1 square plus r2 square minus 2r1 2r1 r2, right? So this is there, but what do we have? We cannot get it from anywhere, like it is not in the equation. So how do we find it? So that doesn't come into picture. So what we should do here is, if this can be converted into positive, this one r1 plus r2 bracket raised to square as such. Now here if I write r1 plus r2, if at all it has to be a positive bracket raised to square, I should have plus 2r1 r2. Hold on, don't come to a conclusion. Okay, if I have introduced this, the same should be subtracted also. No, apart from this there should be a more subtraction. So 2r1 r2 is a compensation for this. This is as it is what we have written, 2r1 r2. I'll explain again, try to understand. Now somehow we have to find out what is r1 minus r2. Then only we will be able to get two equations, linear equations, so that we can solve them by any method. So r1 minus r2 bracket raised to square is again r1 square plus r2 square plus 2 minus 2r1 r2. but this we don't have any value for this. Don't say that, ma'am, we already have r1 square plus r2 square is 117 minus 2 into 54, my this it will be 0. We don't get any value for that. So what did I do is adjustment. Here it is what, by completing square. There is a method called completing square. So how can I help this r1 and r2, r1 square plus r2 square, to make it a r1 plus r2 bracket raised to square? If I introduce 2 r1 r2, it will be a perfect square. What type of perfect square it is? r1 plus r2 bracket raised to square it will be. Okay, but as I have introduced this extra, I have to subtract also to balance the equation. This is whatever we wrote before, not adjustment. Okay, out of this we have got this. Now what? They are same in sign and same this one, r1 r2, so I can add them and write it. Now r1 plus r2 bracket raised to square, what you have got as, please recollect it. r1 plus r2 bracket raised to r1 plus r2 is what? 15. So 15 ka square minus 4 into what is r1 into r2? We got it as 54. Now 15 square is what? 225 minus 54 into 2, 216. Now when you subtract, what do you get? 25 minus 16 is 9. Why I am saying 25 minus 16? 200 get cancelled. 25 minus 16 is 9. But what is this? This is the this is all r1 minus r2 bracket raised to square. r1 minus r2 bracket raised to square. If I don't want the square and I want only r1 minus r2, what am I supposed to do? I have to find the square root of this. This is 3. Now don't get in a confusion, ma'am. Whenever you said square root of something is written, it has to be positive or negative. For this question, we have to take only positive values. Okay, so thinking that r1 is greater than r2, we'll have to get this answer. So this is the third equation what we get. Now we have to take this r1 plus r2 and r1 minus r2. Now look here, r1 plus r2 is equal to 15 is given first equation. This one, r1 minus r2 is equal to 3. Now what do we do with this? You must have already understood that we are going to use the elimination method. Now if you add this, r2 will get cancelled. Here it is 2r1 is equal to 15 plus 3 is 18. r1 is equal to 18 upon 2, that is, how much you get? 9. So r1 is equal to 9. Now what happens once you get r1? You can get r2 at any point of time. r1 plus r2 is 15 what is given, in that you can put up the value. Okay, r2 is equal to 15 minus r1, so that is 15 minus 9. So what is 15 minus 9? That will be 6. So the radii of the two circles is this 6. Here it is centimeter, here it is centimeter. Okay, therefore what was the question? Radii of two circles, isn't it? Therefore radii of two circles is 9 centimeter and 6 centimeter. This is your answer. You can write and finish over here. Hope you have understood why we need two equations. Two equations are required to find out one of them, r1 or r2. If we keep getting only the positive equations, we'll not be able to eliminate them. That's why we have to use this. Hope you have got this one. If you have any queries based on this, you can ask me. You can comment me and ask me and let me know whether your query got solved or resolved or not. Okay. Thank you, and if you understood, just write a comment as understood. Thank you.